Welcome to Interstellar Chats. This is Carlene Selg, and I have the most special guest with me today, Jan Christensen. And we are going to be talking about so much that I don't even want to spoil it with the introduction of who she is, except to say that she is or has experienced so much in her life, including a near-death experience, and is now going through many activations and healings, learning about her starseed origins, that she is remembering a lot of things that have happened during childhood and all through her life that we're going to talk about and explore today. Because, we just said this right before I pressed record, but sometimes we just have to get it out of our bodies into the ethers so that it not only heals ourselves, but begins to heal the collective. So with that, I welcome you, Jan. Please take it away. Tell us all about you, starting from wherever you want to start, sharing however much you would like.
Hey, thank you, Carlene. That was a great introduction. Thank you. And thank you for getting together with me. This is a very special moment in my life, I guess, because I'm really starting to share the experiences that I have had in my life. And that is important to me. We were just talking about what I feel the intention of this is. And the intention is for me to allow people to be able to go into their own past and to see things that have happened to them with an open courage that will allow them to grow and to live a life that is so much more than we can live if we are not able to address these things that we've been through. And for most of us, so many things we've been through become hidden in our subconscious. And it's because it's too painful to take a look at. But it's important to take a look at these things and bring ourselves to a point in our life where we don't have to fear anything anymore. Because fear is such a gripping experience for most humans that it takes away our ability to live and really live life in a joyful, happy way. It saddens me that here on this planet, this is what's happened. We've lived for years and years as people who believe that we are here to experience a 9-to-5 job with a lot of anxiety and stress, and come home exhausted, go to bed, sleep, get up and do the same thing tomorrow. This is not what being human is meant to be.
Thank goodness we're breaking out of that.
You're not kidding, because that's not a life. That's not living. That is existing in a paradigm of being squished down and made small and not able to be happy, to be full of love and joy. That's the stuff that we're meant to be as humans.
That concept sounds so simple, but it's because truly, and this is my inner knowing, my truth, that we have been interfered with for so long on a frequency level that has literally turned us off in some respects, that we forgot who we were as not only humans, but I like to say the galactic human, because we have so many more abilities and powers that we just didn't know because of all this interference and programming and mind control and abuse that has happened through every sector of life that we've lived, from educational programming to what's on the TV, news programming, entertainment, songs even. It's just been coming from every direction. And then when you're older and you get into a corporate job, then you're in that kind of programming. So it's been even, political and pharmaceutical, even food wise, water, all of it. Like we've been affected on every level possible. And now that this is cleaning up and we are waking up, we have things to say because we're remembering.
Yes, and we've had enough of being squished down and squeezed into a box that we don't fit into and can't exist in. But people get so sick physically and emotionally from being squeezed into these small spaces where they don't believe that they are worthy of anything. And it's time to put an end to all that, because each one of us is so very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And we're powerful from the perspective that we are pure love at our core. And this power is the power that we need to see and foster. And my near death experience was amazing for helping me to see this, because it took me completely out of my body, and it took me back to being who I am in eternity, what I am in infinity, and what I have always been. This energy that has been present, my energy, your energy, every individual's energy. It's energy that has been here since the beginning of time. So we are going to have a lot of wisdom inside with that energy. And having had an experience of going back to being just that was powerful enough to show me that we can move in a flow here in this vessel, this body, and understand and bring out the beauty of the essence of who we are in our energy, our frequency. So that was a wonderful experience, and I've had many interviews about that, which have all been a lot of fun. But now I've kind of moved a little into a different perspective, and this perspective, for a while, it made me pretty upset, because the things that happened to me as a child were so profoundly unfair, is how I looked at them when I first uncovered the understanding of what I've been through. But this experience that I'm having of wanting to share this with people is certainly not to create fear, because I have moved beyond that anger and into a position of really understanding that I'm here, and so are you here, and so is everyone here, to grow our soul from whatever point we were at when we came here. We all have a purpose, we all have a reason for being here, and for unfolding our soul in a way that we have experiences to grow our energy, to evolve our energy and evolve our soul. So the things that occurred to me for me to learn from. And so the fact that my energy flows, and there is no division between you and me, there's no division between us and anyone else. Because of this flow of energy, we are all one. And so looking at it from that point of view, and from the point of view that I'm here to learn from my experiences, and I'm in a flow with everyone else, we are all one. You can't live with anger about the things that have happened. So the fear can drop away, and the understanding and the learning, what these experiences brought about as far as learning is. These are the things that are important. And I know so many people that are just so sick of being afraid and living in fear. And I am here to tell you that you don't have to live that way. There is a way to live very different from that. It does require that you go in and look quietly and peacefully at the things that have happened to you as you were growing up, and very often happen and being forgotten. And you'll know if it's time for you to remember. And it is divine timing. It's not something that comes about unexpectedly and in a way that is going to be terrifying for you, because if it's time for you to remember, you'll remember. Trust me, you will.
So Jan, I want to ask you a question. It's one thing for us as spiritual leaders to come on to any platform and talk about what we should do and how we can experience different aspects of ourselves and activate rememberings and all of these different ways to progress on our spiritual journey. But is there a specific instance? Because I think when people hear about our true and actual experiences, they can really align with and what is the word? Like just basically identify with different experiences that we have and say, oh yes, that's happened to me too. And when we share our stories, it helps other people to not only remember something that may have happened to them that they have dissociated with or put on the back burner, but also in bringing it up, they can come to it in a place of peace, like you said, but also instant healing. So is there maybe some specific instances or experiences you could share with us?
Absolutely. And I'm happy to do that for not be I'm a very private person, so sharing things is about my past is not something that comes naturally and easily, but I have come to a point where I just feel it's important. It's more important to share things that have happened to me than it is to be quiet and be uh of that nature anymore. So I feel like I want to start with this experience because it's simple, it's straightforward, and it gives you an idea of how our soul has a way of expressing things and taking little pictures that it can actually bring back in the future for you to go, oh, huh. Because I have things happen to me as a child, and I would go, that's kind of odd. And it was like my soul took a picture, and then in the future it brought that picture back up. Oh, that was odd. And then I look at what happened around it, the things people said, and make sense of it. So as a child, I remember one time it was around Christmas, and we received this beautiful box of gifts from one of my relatives. It was huge and it was so exciting. And my mom and I opened it up, and I said, can I go through and pull the gifts out? She said, sure. So I pulled the gifts out, and I got to the bottom, and there was no gift for me. And I said to myself, that's kind of odd. And I said to my mom, there's no gift for me. And she said, oh, don't worry about it. I'll buy you a little gift. They must have just forgotten. And I was kind of crushed inside. It didn't feel good as a child of 3 or 4 to be forgotten. And then there was a card. And I said, can I open the card? Sure. She said, open. So I opened the card, and I said, Mom, my name's not on this card. And again, it was like the energy just fell out of me. I felt so unincluded. I felt so insignificant. And she said the same thing. Oh, they must have just forgotten. And I knew there was more to it, and it was so hurtful.
So Jan,
And
are you saying that all of the members of your family had a gift included in the box and all of their names were included on the card, but yours was not?
right, right.
Uh,
And so as a
that's
child,
terrible.
that was hurtful. That was painful. But you eventually just drop these things away. And what more questions can you ask as a child? Well, they forgot me. Okay, they forgot me. They forgot me. All right, move on. Now, I had very little contact with that. They lived basically across the country from me, so we didn't see much of them. But I do recall as a child, we were at a cabin with all of the brothers together at a table. They were smoking their cigars and drinking their whiskey. And all of a sudden, they all turned around and they looked at me. And I felt like, ugh. I just, again,
Your brothers or your uncles?
my uncles.
Your
My
uncles. Okay,
uncles.
so they're your dad's brothers? Okay.
And that was a feeling again of the energy just drained out of me. What are they looking at? And they were not looking at me with a happy look on their faces. They were all kind of scowling at me. And I just felt that, ugh, what does this mean? And my soul took a picture again, said, that's kind of odd. That's kind of weird. And just in a very uncomfortable way. I knew they were talking about me. And I let it go again because what are you going to do as a child? These are adults. And so there's shit going on. There's nothing you can do about it. So this story, I'm sure, has a lot more to it, a lot more than I can remember. And that's okay for now, because what I remember, I can gain an understanding of. And if I'm meant to understand more, I will, or when I'm ready. So the other little piece to this story with this family, well, there's two more pieces. One is that I went to visit their province with my school classmates when I was, in my later teens. And we had my class and I had gone on this excursion, and we had a lot of fun. And I remember before I went, I said to my mom, I should take my aunt and uncle's number and just phone them when I'm there. And she said, oh, you don't need to do that. And I said, well, I think I should. We never see them. I'm going to be there in their part of the world, and I should take their number. So she wrote down the number for me, not really wanting to, me not really understanding why, because I had never done anything to receive the kind of um, ignoring, unacknowledging that I had received from them. And I'd kind of forgotten about that anyway. So I took down their number. When I went out there, I phoned them, and it was the wrong number. So I just phoned information and I got the right number. And I phoned them and said, I'm here in town, and I just wanted to let you know and say hello. Oh, you should come for dinner. I said, well, could I bring one of my schoolmates with me? Because I didn't want to go traveling around by myself. I was not comfortable. I was not comfortable with that idea. So she said, sure, bring your friend. That sounds great. So we bussed there from a big city to a smaller town. And she came, and I phoned her when we got to their town. She came, pick me up. We went there for dinner. And when we got to their place, the uncle was nowhere to be seen. I thought, oh, he's still at work. He was a doctor. So I figured he's still at work. We were there for half an hour or so. And then she went and she called him down for dinner. He was upstairs. I thought, oh, he was having a nap, I guess. So down he came. And, we exchanged our hellos. And I put my arm around him, my hand on his waist. And I felt a little fat roll. That's what I thought to myself. Oh, there's a little fat roll. And it was the most unassuming, unexpected, meant nothing experience to me. And I felt his whole body just flinch. And so I took my hand away and we went and had dinner. And the dinner was very interesting the way it was set up, because it was my aunt, my friend across the table, me here, and my uncle way down at the other end of this huge table, way down there. And we had this conversation down at this end. And, didn't pay much attention. He was just, I thought, well, he's probably tired. He had a big, long day. And at one point, my aunt said, you're very quiet down there. And I turned and looked at him, and he was sitting there in this seething pile of himself. I just thought, oh, he was so angry. He was just looking with these eyes that were throwing daggers. What is that? And again, it was a feeling of the energy just drained out of me, just a horrible feeling. And so dinner's over, and my aunt said, well, we'll drive them back to the hotel. And she said, let's drive by the university and show them the university on the way. I thought, well, that sounds nice. And so we got in the car and we did this tour. And when we got to the university, we just went boom, zoomed around it and went back to the hotel. it was a long trip. It seemed like a long time between when we were at their house and when we got back to the hotel. We got back to the hotel fairly late in the evening. Seemed odd to me. It seemed like a long time, and I didn't have any recall of where, what, when, why, you know.
Hmm.
Anyway, that was the end of that. Just odd. Little snapshots of, wow, that's odd. And then the only other experience I had was many years later, someone had passed away, and one of my cousins came, whom I had never met. He was a little older than me. And we had everybody up to our family home. And he came in, and when everybody was together, he said, "Who are you?" And I said, "Jan." "Well, how do you fit in here?" I said, "Well, I'm your cousin." "What?" he said. "I know of your two sisters, I know of your brother, but I never heard of you before." And I said, "Oh, that's odd."
That's odd.
"That's odd." He said, I never knew about you. That is weird." I said, "That is very weird." And we left it at that. So that is that experience. It was weird. And I know there's more to it. And I know someday I'll probably understand more about it. But for now, there you go. That was an experience of one family member. Now, another member of that family of my dad's was an uncle who these guys all looked fairly normal, you know. They were doctors and they were respectable people, respected people. And here's this experience with this particular uncle. Uh, the experience that stands out in my mind that is most shocking to me and has been quite devastating uh, as a child. And again, we're talking like, I don't know, 4 years old. We were at their place visiting, and he said, um, "I'd like to take Jan to the office with me. There's something I remembered I have to do, and I have to go. Why don't you come with me? I'd love to show you off. My beautiful little niece, come with me." And everybody said, "Well, I guess so, sure, why not?" So I went with him. And on the way to his office, he we were going downhill. Where they lived was in a, they were up here, and the town was in a valley. And we're driving down the hill into the valley, and he slams on the brakes. And as a 4-year-old child, what did I do? I went boom, smashed the side of my face into the dashboard.
Oh my
Really
gosh.
hurt. It really hurt. And so I started crying, and he snuggled me up, pulled me over beside him, and he said, "Oh, I'm a doctor. I should know better than to do anything like that. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. And come, I'll take care of you. I'll help you feel better," and all that kind of shit. And so I was just crying, and we went to his office, and he disappeared, and I sat crying in a chair with his receptionist there. And she was trying to soothe me a little bit. And then after a little bit, he came out and he had a pill, and he said, he explained to the receptionist, I, I did a terrible thing, and she's hit her face and she's hurting, and I've got a little pill that'll make you feel better, take away the pain. And so I took the pill. It didn't look like anything that my mom had ever given me, as a child, but I thought he's a doctor, so he knows. So I took the pill. And then we left there and got in the car, and he said, "Oh, I'd really like to take you somewhere special. Where could we go? What could we do? I'd like this to be a really special outing for you." And I was thinking, "Oh God, just take me back to my mom." Anyway, then he said, "Oh, hey, that's where we'll go. There was a wax museum." Uh, okay, so in we went to this wax museum, and I stepped in the door, and it just felt terrifying to me in there. And there was these two wax replicas of human beings. And from what I recall, one was like a native chief. It had the big headdress, and it looked so human. And then the other one, I think, was JFK. I can't really remember for sure, but I was just looking at these two wax replicas, same size as the human being would be, and they just looked human. It was horrifying. And my uncle was so excited. He said, look at this. The work they do is so fabulous and fantastic. Don't you love it here? I said, no, I'm scared. And then boom, I don't remember anything else that happened there. And so then we arrived back at his place, and I opened my eyes, and it was like I had been sleeping. And he said, oh, good, you're awake. Let's go in the house now. So we went in the house, and I just felt so awful inside, just so empty. And we got in the house, and I looked down, and I noticed that the clothing I was wearing was awful. It was like nothing I had ever worn or would ever wear. It was beige, and I just felt sick about it. And I felt sick inside anyway. And so these clothes, really, I was so fixed on, I didn't know what else to fix on. So I was fixed on the clothes. I hate these clothes, I kept thinking. And we walked in the door, and my aunt was so upset with him. Where have you been? And he was just like a bad kid. And well, I just wanted to show Jan the wonderful things in town. She said, we've been so worried. I've been phoning and I couldn't find you. And he was tittering and giggling. And I thought, God, even as a child, I thought he's just like a bad kid. So uh, he continued to get shit from her. And I just went to find my mom. She was in the living room. They had already eaten dinner and everything. It was
Oh,
quite a
wow.
long time we were away. And I went to my mom, and she hugged me. And there was this big cushy stool in front of the chair she was sitting on. And I just curled up on the stool, and I just cried and cried. And I said to her, um, I just want my own clothes. And she said, it's okay. We've got lots of your own clothes at the hotel. When we get back there, we'll get you your own clothes. And I just cried and cried. And so that was a horrible experience. And of course, as a child, I didn't understand any of what had gone on. Nothing. I just knew I was really devastated inside and sad and lonely, and there was no happiness. And so
So can I ask you a
I,
quick question, Jan?
mhm.
With both of these experiences with both different uncles, are you basically telling me, yes, I understand the one where you were given the pill, that there was some time loss where you just don't remember anything. Is that the case with the first uncle as well? Like you were telling us it took a really long time to get back, so but you
Yes,
don't remember things, so there was maybe some memory loss or time loss?
there was something weird about that, because I was having that feeling of, this is weird. It's very late, and I guess it took a long time to get from their house to, but it didn't, because when we bust, it didn't take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You're you you can only figure out what you can figure out in divine timing. That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can say. So back to the wax museum. That experience was awful and horrible. But you know what? You move away from it, right? And so then, just not that long ago, I was having snapshots of that and remembering it and thinking, oh, that was really an awful experience. What was that all about? And I was seeing kind of images of me as one of those wax beings. And I was thinking, well, what is that? Like a voodoo doll of me? And kind of having this knowing of, no, it's not really a voodoo doll, but well, what is it? Oh, okay. It was a wax museum where they make replicas. I went there. I forgot everything about being there because there was some kind of drug. And there was a replica of me made, my clothes taken, put on that replica. And again,
Oh,
I don't know about this stuff. I know nothing about this stuff. So it had to come to me by me asking questions of people. What could this be? what is what when what
So this replica had your clothes on that when you got back, you had different clothes. So the clothes that were gone were on this wax doll.
Yes, from images that I could see, yes,
Mhm.
in my mind's eye. And so then I started having other recalls of this uncle when any he had a big garden of beautiful flowers. And I made the comment again when I was very young, what, lots of beautiful flowers. And my aunt started laughing and she said, yes, every time a patient of his dies, he buys a flower and plants it. I thought, that's kind of weird. And I said to him, that's a lot of flowers. And he said, yes, I've had a lot of patients pass away.
That's a lot of
So,
flowers.
and then my aunt went on to say he had a wonderful native man who would come and expand the garden whenever it needed to be expanded. And it was way up, it was raised way up high. And she said, oh, yes, there's compartments underneath it. I thought, weird, very weird. So there
There's a
was
lot.
weird shit that went on. And I don't, uh, anyway, let's go back to now. The things that have come back to me, that the understandings that I have gained of what the heck that doll would be. What would they want a doll of me for? What in the heck is that all about? And what I have gained the understanding of was that uh, we have energy taken from us in many different ways. And there are people of a darker nature who take energy in darker ways. And this should not be frightening to people either, because my experience is not other people's experience. And let me also tell you that I have come through this with shining colors, a whole lot of light and love. And I have completely destroyed any of the nonsense that they did. And I call it nonsense because it was very cruel. And then I'm back to understanding that I have been through this for lessons for my soul. So I came here to learn something. So I had to explore what did I learn from this? And my feeling is I looked down from way up there one day and I said, that is what they're doing to children down there. I'm going down to do something about this. So I
Mhm.
came down and I have suffered very, very awful experiences at the hands of people who looked normal and they were not normal human beings. They were here and my light was too bright. That's simply what happened. My light was too bright and they wanted that energy. And so they took it. And with this, I still call it a voodoo doll because it makes the most sense to me. They had this freaking voodoo doll where they could do whatever they wanted to do. And by that, I mean they could energetically do. And so that day, however they did it, they took a big piece of my joy. I did not experience a lot of joy. I could still go away by myself and sing and dance as a child and feel really, really wonderful, in touch with divinity and love. And so they didn't take it all. And I know that there's always more of wonderful me and wonderful you. So nobody can ever completely destroy what the divine has in wonderful people. And I don't mean that to sound like I think I'm something above or special, because we are all that special. And I think I came to give these people an opportunity. Stop doing nasty shit. Stop being a dick. That's what I feel people need to do. Stop
Yes.
being a dick. If you know you're being a dick, stop it. So this wax doll, voodoo doll, which I know many people will look at this story of mine and they'll go, "Oh, that's wild. It sounds like a wild imagination." It is not. We have been lied to for so long. Things have gone on that we knew nothing about. And however this lands for you is fine with me, but just know that my inner knowing is that this is true. With this doll, they manipulated my energy whenever they wanted to. They could take energy from me and utilize it. And they used that voodoo doll to do things in a darker part of the world. And I could never see what was going on. I still can't see if a coach or a medium or someone takes me into a dark place. I can't see a damn thing that's going on. I can feel it, but I can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they can do something, apparently, is all I can tell you. I don't know whether they can put a blindfold on the
So for
doll.
clarification purposes, with this wax doll, you're saying that they would manipulate your energy through this doll. So does that mean that what you're seeing or what you're experiencing was like this was an energetic connection to you? Like it had your life force energy in it. They took that from your real live living body and put it into this wax doll for them to use as almost like a storage container, or maybe even just a direct connection to you to siphon off of you through that doll or that.
That is my best understanding, and you explained it very well because it's still confusing to me. But it's not really confusing. It's just articulating it takes some doing for me because this is all part of the world that I am not really of. And so that was, thank you. That was well explained. And
Mhm.
um, there would be a feeling for most people of, well, how are you going to prove that? And it is not my job to prove anything to anybody ever. And so if you don't want to believe it, then you should turn away and not believe it. But I have had a couple of things happen not that long ago as I have learned to stop this, to take this away from, and to not have this be of this world anymore. A couple of things have happened. And one thing is I developed this indent on my spine. It's so weird. It is uncomfortable, not right now, but it was uncomfortable. It felt like tightening of a noose around my spine. And I could feel this discomfort. And again, sitting with coaches who tried to help me, they would do things like this. Imagine you're going in and you take a little knife and you're just cutting because they could see, I guess, what I can't see. I can feel and I know I could feel and I knew something was not right. And so it has taken time to remove whatever it was that they were manipulating from their end and causing to happen on my end. Um, but it's a done deal. They are done with me in any way, shape, or form.
And how do you
They
know
have,
that?
I know that because I have learned how to take back my power. I have learned how to cut off energies that are unhealthy, energies that are not meant for me to have attached to me. And we all have an ebb and flow with energy. So we all have times and places when we take on energies that are not that are of a lower frequency. And so our frequency is very important. Keeping our frequency up is important so that we don't sit in a lower frequency and attract lower energies. These are the things that I can help people to understand, and I can help people to understand how I went about getting rid of something that was very hard to stop.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, I still have the indent on my spine, and I just don't have the discomfort now, and I don't have it getting deeper and deeper. The other very unusual thing that happened was
Can we
one
just back
day.
up real quick, Jan,
Sure,
just for
sure.
clarification? When you say that you can help people to do some of the things that you've been able to do as far as cutting off these energies and healing these energetic vampires, if you will, or dark energies that have been siphoning off of you, you're basically telling us that while you had experiences with other coaches or energy healers, they were able to see what you couldn't, but could not necessarily completely sever the connection or heal the connection, because you have to be 100% involved in that for it to be completed. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, and I did not know at the
Yes.
time when that work was being done, I did not know anything about this voodoo doll, this wax doll. So neither did they.
Mm-hmm.
How could they see that, all of that convoluted, distant happening? They could only see me. And that is why it's very important for us to um, have an understanding of our own discernment so that we can understand ourselves more than other people understand us. We have to understand ourselves, and we have to gain the understanding of the things that have happened so that we can know what to do. But let me also say that most people do not have such a deep, difficult way of having to heal. And so most people have a much easier road of just cleaning and clearing their energy, grounding, centering, and aligning themselves. And, they come back to a point of being much more physically, mentally, and spiritually healthy in a very easy way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I can go whatever depth I need to go to clean, clear, and cleanse. Not of everybody, and nor would I want to, because that's not my job. I'm not here to be God. And
Right. But
certain
you know,
people in
this brings me to my next point. As a galactic shaman and spiritual mentor myself, and I do a lot of healings for thousands of people and have over the last 25 years. However, what I have noticed and what is always proves to be true is no matter who you're working with or on or helping to facilitate some kind of change, the person who is wanting to experience that change must be open enough in their consciousness, in their spirit, in their even their mental awareness of yes and no answers. Like, they have to be a collaborative part of this equation. They have to say, yes, I want this, and agree to help this occur. Because it's one thing to just, sit back and be on somebody's massage table and be like, oh, my healer's going to do all their things and I'm going to walk out of here a different person. No, you will get so far. You will have some experiences. You will feel some differences and changes in energy. But until and unless you are 100% on board with that collaboration to say, I'm here to assist with my own healing to be on the next level of the transformative journey of whatever it is, right? Awareness or openness to our galactic selves, or just healing past lifetime traumas or this lifetime traumas. We must say, I'm here to help. You're facilitating, but I'm here to help collaborate with getting us to the finish line, right? So I have to make this point, and I do it all the time. I do it with my own clients all the time, and especially with what you're talking about. It's very imperative for people to know that even though you or I can help someone get to a place of healing, you must, as the client, be 100% open and willing for the transformation to take place and work with us for the change to happen.
absolutely, absolutely, you're spot on, and it's such an important point for people to understand, because people can receive healings and they can say, well, nothing happened. Well, if you don't have faith and you have doubt, then you will receive nothing. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot have doubt, and you cannot have a un faith is the word that faith is what is so important. But if you have doubt and you don't allow yourself to have the deep faith, then you can receive nothing. Sometimes you can receive a little bit, but in order to receive the full impact, see the miracles happen, you have to have faith, and you have to drop away all doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard for people because
It is.
people have been lied to for so long. I love Mark Twain's quote of, it's so much easier to lie to people than it is to convince them that they've been lied to.
It is true. You
It's
know,
so true. It's so
and
true.
this also speaks to when you have someone who's just simply not ready to receive, they may even verbally say the words they're ready, but until they actually are and they know it in their heart or on a soul level, they basically have put up their own blocks. Because if you don't have the faith and the trust, then you will never actually believe that you are even worthy enough to receive a healing or the next phase of your journey, or the openness to experience your galactic self, or your, your galactic heritage even, and of course I go to that because I'm a galactic shaman. But even if we're just talking about healing the witch wound, well, of so many females that have been burned at the stake over their past lifetimes, all of these different things that are coming into their conscious awareness now, they're coming up to be healed. But they don't have to be long and lengthy processes. It can be instantaneous. And I think that might even speak to the point that you're getting to, is you don't need to remember every last gross and gruesome detail to heal from the atrocity or the tragedy or whatever it is that happened to you in the past.
Exactly. Exactly. You may not even, things are becoming so much easier because of the awakening that's happening on the planet, and the new energy that is pouring in here. Uh, we've kind of gone through a path of learning this stuff. Well, it was kind of hard to move through, but that's okay because it allows us to be in a position to be able to help people in a much easier way now. And that's a blessing, not a it's not a bad thing.
It is.
And we came
So
through all of this.
How did you get your energy back? How did you take your life force energy back that was stolen from you and put into that wax doll? Like, how did you reclaim that?
Well, first of all, I really had to believe and have faith that what I was understanding was true. And I'll tell you one more thing that brought me to the belief and the faith that this is true and it needs to be stopped was, I had this download that there are 7 daggers in your heart. So I said, well, let's get rid of those. And I did. Usually I will wait to see how I feel, if it's the right thing to do. And it seemed to be. So literally, you go in and you visualize taking those out, taking those 7 daggers in my heart. Those are going. Those are going. And I took them out, sent them up to a higher um, divine being who could deal with them. And then, you don't know for sure, is this true? Is this not true? Well, as soon as I took the 7 daggers out, I got a UTI and an ear infection, which was very unexpected and also gave me a feeling of, it's just true. It just is true. I removed those, and actually, poisons were released
Mm,
and had to be cleared. I mean, it's so astounding that,
wow.
yeah, it's important for people to understand that the things they think they know for sure are true. They'll be true. They'll be true. And so if there's energy that you feel that you need to clear, then you should do that. You should.
Mhm.
And it brings me back to your question: how did you go about doing this? Steps and stages. I learned how to clean and clear energy. We all should be cleaning and clearing our energy on a daily basis, not because there's things to be afraid of, just because you feel so much better. And
Mm.
you will be able to experience your true essence more and more as you learn and keep up with cleaning and clearing your energy. So that's a pretty important thing to do. Learn to ground yourself, learn to center yourself, and learn to align yourself, which I'm not going to go into today because that would be a whole another hour. Well,
That's a master
I can,
class in itself.
yeah, but at the same time, I can do that, clean, ground, center, and align myself in a minute.
Yes. And that comes
But
with,
when,
practice and knowing that you are a powerful, consistently powerful being, and you know how to do that. You can literally do it with the wave of a hand if you want, or just visualizing it. And its frequency and energy can move so quickly, the speed of light, quick.
exactly, exactly. And so, yes, it takes some time to learn these things, but once you learn them, you do them with such ease and it's
Mm.
effortless.
Yes.
Um, Absolutely effortless. So nobody should be intimidated or feel like they can't learn and lean into cleaning and clearing their own energy and do that frequently. But uh, I think another thing that's nice about having people bring out the things that have happened to them in the past now, to hear these things now, is that we don't have a lot of these dark energy individuals here anymore. We have a much easier earth to live on without beings like that being here. Those beings were taken away. They were escorted out. They were a slingshot was taken and they went boom and sent them away or whatever happened to them.
Mhm.
They're gone. And so what we have here now are energies that have taken on lower frequency energy and kind of brought them into a way of being that they are behaving in ways that are causing ill things for other people, but they're much easier to deal with.
Mhm.
They are kind of a breeze to get out of the road. And everybody has the opportunity, no matter what kind of darkness they are in, come back into being a non-judgmental being who is willing to look at other people with compassion and understanding. This is possible for, I think, anybody. I really do. I don't, maybe even those souls that were here doing the worst. It's possible, but it's not something for me to worry about because they're gone. And the ones that are here now, they can be led into, out of the darkness and into a lighter, more genuinely connected to the divine being.
It is true. And just to clarify a little bit, any of the negative leaning or darker entities that are left here are not of that same um frequency as the overreaching, overarching kind of more powerful dark entities. Those are gone, right? They've been banished and never allowed back into our solar system. But what is left here? Because, our audience is saying, well, I know there's still a lot of dark and negativity out there. And it is true. There is still some here. But what you said is so perfect because these people still have their humanness. They still have parts of them that are of the light. And they can choose, they have free will to decide, do they want to be rehabilitated and to move fully into the light and transmute any darkness, or do they choose to stay in that? And if they do choose to stay in the dark realms of negativity and fear and, harmful and dangerous ways, they will expire. And by that, I mean they will die off. And I am not afraid to say that they will leave because they have chosen to leave. And what is left is this amazing shift that's happening with humanity right now, where we are opening up more and more to the greater lightness that is this earth. Not just the earth, but the inhabitants of earth, from humans to plants to animals and minerals. We are all here to be truly bright lights. And you have just really, really shown a light on what is possible with some of these negative beings that are still here, because the bigger ones are gone, so they can't affect us anymore. But what is left is rehabilitated. We can rehabilitate them. And it's not just we, it is they, them. They are making their own decisions. It is their free will. Right. So with that, it is the most spectacular time to be alive on this planet. And I do want to make this really grand aha moment just kind of expanded, because we are opening up and remembering these horrific things that may have happened in past lives or in this life or in parallel lifetimes and what have you. Because as we know, time and space is not linear, right? It is all happening all at the same time. So we can remember something, but we can also change the frequency around what has occurred, which you do so brilliantly, because you don't need to remember those details, but you do know that something happened and it didn't feel good and it was hurtful and it was damaging. But moving into that place of healing is so much faster than it used to be. And you know, I'm in my 50s. I don't know how old you are, Jan, but you're at least my age or older. So you
I'm
have
older.
you have had a lot of experiences where in the past it was much more difficult to move through these things because of that frequency interference by the negative dark entities. It didn't allow us to use our power of discernment and of healing and using our own frequency to rise above these dark things. We sat in it and we were forced to be in that pain and that fear without being able to break through. But because of where we are now with the frequency change and the whole planet lighting up and becoming a higher vibration, we can have a remembrance, or a memory of something that happened, bring it into full view and heal it like that, and not have to sit in the pain of that whole occurrence for very long. We get to move through it at exponential speeds. And this is what is happening right now. We're waking up and we're thinking, you know, people around me constantly are like, wow, I remembered this happened and it was not good, but it's also not derailing them or plummeting them into depression or suicide or all of the things that were prevalent before, because those overreaching, arching negative frequencies are gone. We get to use our creative source power because we are fractals of source, of God energy. So we get to really take that in and expand into these beautiful light beings without having to trudge through the darkness and stay there for extended periods of time. This is exponential growth for humankind.
Absolutely. It's I can't imagine a more wonderful time to be here on our
Mm-hmm.
planet in the consciousness that we're in, and with the ability that we have to help other people too, to help people find their way to peace, find their way out of fear,
Mm-hmm.
and live in joy. I mean, that sometimes that triggers people when I say we were meant to be here in joy and love and laughter. And I'm not saying, the thing I'm not trying to say is that people should feel bad if they're not living in that way. Not that at all. But people should know that this is open to them, this is available to them. And I think another statement that's important is the truth will always set you free. And so, me telling my truth does a tremendous amount to set me free, and you telling your truth takes away the power of the ones who made us be quiet and not allow people to know what was being done to us. Keep it inside, let it fester and poison us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to do that. As soon as you tell your truth, it takes the power away from those who held the power before.
It's true. And we get to heal faster. We get to transmute energy faster. So even when you removed those 7 daggers from your heart and you felt your body actually expel toxins into your body, causing other things to happen, I imagine you moved through that. Or maybe you just tell us, did you move through that in a faster, more convenient way than would have happened in the past?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Move through it so fast because I'm not holding on to a lot of dense energy, and I'm not holding on to a lot of um lack of understanding of things. I just go, oh, okay, so that was real. There was
Mhm.
daggers, and now look at this. Okay, well, let's deal with that and move on. And I think it's important to say there is still one more story, and I can't believe it myself that there's still one more story,
Oh,
and
please
that
tell us.
is that is the experiences that I had at the hands of my father. And people who knew us, people who knew him, will really go, there is no way, no way. He was, the mayor of the town. He was respected. He was this, he was that. He was also a pretty big bit of a monster. And at the hands of him, I suffered a lot of abuse. And that too, I am over. He's gone, it's done. There is no more of that as well. And so it gives me some pretty good perspectives to be able to hold space for people and to let them know that it's okay. The things that happened, it's okay. You can move beyond them.
It is true. It is true. And without even getting into the details, because we can imagine how horrific it was, but it is important to note that a lot of these darker energies were in powerful positions, and their outward appearance was of the upstanding citizen, and behind closed doors they are absolute literal monsters from other places. Right? Meaning, those dark energies came from somewhere else, and they were inhabiting a physical being, and we suffered, us as light beings suffered that um those atrocities from them, because they kept it hidden, and they were able to, because they were in those powerful positions where literally they could change people's energy even with a swipe of the hand. And you would think that you're not seeing what you are believing you see. This is true. If you want to call it black magic or whatever you want to call it, they are literally changing through energy imprints, and what you're seeing is different than what your eyes are actually perceiving. So then you believe a different story. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just, I want to say a lot of that stuff is gone now, and we're moving into our own power as light beings to be able to see through that, being able to block it, and even, just transmute it so it
Yes.
doesn't hurt ourselves or anyone else. Go ahead.
Yes, exactly. And I think this brings up one more thing that's very important in your journey to healing, and that is developing a deep, true inner discernment of what's going on around you.
Mhm.
Once you can feel energetically what is going around you, you can deal with it. But when you don't understand the discernment, when you feel incredibly nauseated inside all of a sudden when someone comes into your presence and you don't know why, then you can't do anything about it. But as soon as you know why, then you can deal with it and you can stop it, and you can, as you say, just transmute it and feel it go. You can feel it go.
Mhm.
So grounding, centering, aligning, and learning discernment, these are important things for everybody to do to lead us into even more joy and laughter and love in within ourselves, and share that with the world so that more people can be that.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jan. This has been a enlightening conversation to really show people and explain to people that there are ways out and ways of transmuting and rising above anything that's happened to us in the past, any memories that come up.
Absolutely. And then the good stuff starts to happen because you start to learn the things that you can do. And we are all capable of so much stuff that is absolutely miracle producing in our lives. And that's a whole another conversation for another day. Just know that every one of you out there are capable of feeling magnificent and living absolutely beautiful lives. You can
So
bring
Jan,
that into being.
how does our audience get in touch with you, and how can they work with you if they're wanting to really clear out some of these negative energies that may be coming up for them?
Well, usually what I suggest is that people uh, send me an email and we just move from there. We
Okay.
decide.
We will have all of
Mhm.
your contact info in the show notes below, and I imagine people can also reach out to you on social media. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so
On
we'll put
Facebook.
all your
Mhm.
your contact info down below. And with that being said, I just want to thank you all for being here with us on Interstellar Chats. And for now, we will say goodbye, but we have so much more to talk about. So hopefully we'll have you on again, Jan.
Yeah. We'll be together again for sure. Thank you so
For sure.
much.
Thank you.